Hello and welcome to Show and Sell, the show that celebrates digging through other people's
Trash!
All right, Trash Dragons. My name is Chris, Trash Dragon of the West. This is my guitar, Mr. Blankenship.
Hello?
Hi, Mr.
Blankenship.
Blankenship.
He says hello back and reminded me that I sell on eBay and Discogs, mostly media.
And I'm Katie, and I'm Trash Dragon of the South, and I sell mostly clothing and accessories, but I'm always on the hunt for things that are sparkly and very unique.
And I'm Joe, Trash Dragon of the East, and I am currently selling just whatever, like the detritus that's in my eBay room that has just been sitting there for ages, and I don't even know it's like, oh, why didn't I list this yet? Like a $200 cookie jar, for example.
Do we have any updates, info? Last week was great. We had Eric Drysdale who did a whole thing on stereo slides, which was mind-blowing. Jaws dropped multiple times.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing.
That was great.
That was really cool.
And
But
then,
how are we going to top it? With this episode.
Yes, exactly. Every episode has to crawl a little bit higher.
And I show you my new collection of stereo slides.
So we are going to move on to our first segment, which is the thing that brought us joy.
That brought you joy.
We're back. Thing that brought us joy. Katie, would you like to go first?
I would like to pass back to you, because I feel like I go first a lot on Item of Joy.
That's true.
Chris, you go first.
Sorry, my brain gets into grooves. I apologize for
breaking the groove. I'm breaking the mold.
All right. So here is the thing that brought me joy. This is, as you can see, a nice little executive thing, but it is for, the Rondor Music International music sampler. So what it is basically, it's CDs, and then it also gives you the listing of all the tracks. So Rondor Music Company basically is just a publishing house. They bought up the publishing rights of all these songs, apparently. And so they have songs like Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams. Let's see, Be True to Your School by Brian Wilson.
They got all the Bryans.
Yes. The Bug, Mark Knopfler. I don't know. But there's like
Mark out of there.
Yeah. There's also country. I don't know what if it's just like, you want to use one of our songs? These are the songs we have. Contact us. I assume that's it, but I have no idea. But I love weirdo insider industry things where it's just like, hey, here's a thing.
Are you posting it? Are you going to list it?
It's already up. So if you want it, you can have it for a mere $100. I think I don't know. We'll see. The market will decide. So, Joe, why don't you go since Katie wants to go last?
Okay, so let me just she didn't say last, but
she implied last.
I did.
So let me paint the scene. I was working a furniture pickup. Thank you, Carl's. Hey, everybody, Carl's butt.
Brought us all joy.
So I was working a furniture pickup in Somerville, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. And it's like Somerville it's about a 4-hour drive, 95 degrees, just like, and 20 stairs, 20, like it's on the first floor, but to get to the first floor, you have to climb up 20 outdoor stairs. Pretty miserable, experience overall. Here's one of the things I got, and that is this gigantic fish platter, / presentation / wall mount. It's got some holes so you can so
you can mount it.
Okay.
And it is, I swear to God, it's got to be 2.5 feet. It's got to be, it's got to be 2.5 feet, 30 inches if it's, if it's a foot. So
that's amazing.
Is that wood? Is the center wood?
Is it wood and brass?
And it's, I don't know what this is. It's sort of a silvery, but it's colored both silver and gold. But I haven't checked it out with the magnet yet. So that's the thing. That's the item that brought me joy this week. Katie, what about you? What do you have?
I'm gonna show off some people that I brought out of boxes that I found while thrifting when I was living in Pennsylvania in Allentown. And they are, I don't know why I'm obsessed with these kind of lamps. The fancy sort of,
Yeah,
I don't know.
porcelain.
I don't
Yeah.
know what century this is. Can you recognize he's got sort of the Revolutionary War hat?
Oh yeah, he's got the tri-corner, so he's supposed to be like yeah, it's supposed to be an 18th century.
Yeah. They look a little, maybe almost even could be like Versailles. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but they I love these. I love these things. I've seen them around. They're small. And then I see on the bottom that I got them for $3.99, which makes them all the better.
They work
These
as
guys are
lamps.
great. They were a little bit of a pain though. I haven't had them out where I'm living now. Obviously they were in a box, but they have that kind of, you need that very specific kind of shade to go on them that sits on the light bulb. Do you know what I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
There's no holder
Little,
here.
it has like a little ring on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit tricky, but
I think you must have offended Joe somehow with
I think
your
he's going to
items.
find me a shade.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep. That's it.
I knew exactly where mine was.
That's right. And so, but also because they're kind of fancy, I like the fancier shades. So you can find very plain ones, but I want them to have little frilly shades. The
Like a
ones with
floral
fringe
one?
would be best. Yeah, or
Like
something like that.
uh,
I think I just really like people lamps is where we're at.
Yeah.
I think
people,
that's just it. That's where we are.
you like people who bring you light.
I
And I would imagine those are from the 60s just because there was that weird strain of like kind of foppish dandyism that
Yes.
kind of also coincided with psychedelia, you know?
Yep.
Like
Mhm.
of like if you were just like, I'm gonna blow your mind, I'm gonna play a harpsichord with my frilly outfit. So-
I'm all about stuff like this too. It's the same way. I'm also very into like ceiling molding. Do you know what I'm talking about when people have crazy molds on their ceiling with the light? And I've watched a ton of YouTube videos of people doing it themselves, and they do this sort of filigree. Anything like that, I'm into it.
yeah.
I find even better if it's fake. If it was not there before you put it there, that's even better. You're doing the work.
That's awesome. So let's move on to our next segment, which is Unearthed Treasure.
Unearthed treasure.
Our topic this week is jazz, and I went last jazz heads. I didn't know. Wow, I didn't. You guys got to tell me when you're doing a thing. Jazz heads.
We've got a vibe. That's
I
the
know.
thing.
I know. You guys you guys talk about me all the time when I'm not on chat. Anyway, so Katie, you want to go first this time?
Sure, because mine's going to be the weakest. Jazz was a complicated. So
it's a complicated music form.
It's a complicated music form and a complicated category because I don't have anything jazz or even really overtly musical that I could think of. But actually, I just found something really good last month. So I'm obsessed with like old t-shirts, right? Especially the 50/50 old Hanes, things
Yep.
like that.
Ooh,
And
ringneck.
I found this really good baseball tee.
Oh, ho!
It's particularly good. I
Right.
was really excited. I actually found it in an antique mall, and it was one booth had a rack of t-shirts, and I was like, oh, that. It's just really good. And I was like, you know what? Grand Ole Opry might have jazz musicians, and it sure does. They sure
Yeah.
do have jazz musicians come through, so it totally worked.
I feel like they would have like New Orleans style jazz coming through, like that kind of like jazz with
Quite a
clarinet.
few.
Really?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
excited. But
that is also a great shirt.
it's just a really particularly, I love anyways, of course, all the old concert baseball tees. Those are so great when you can find those. They are very hard to find and they are very expensive. I have a few of them that I'm holding basically for my niece because I know that they're just going to increase in value. So I try not to wear them, but this I'm not going to sell. This
your niece's dowry is going to be excellent.
My niece's dowry is just going to be, let's really hope one of them are into clothes because otherwise I just really worry because basically I keep things that I know will be valuable. So it's like you can sell these things. What I'm more worried about is that if something happens to me, they're going to be like, oh, we'll have to give it to. I guess it would totally track for it to just go back to the Goodwill and make its way back into the world.
Into the system, the circle of thrift. Yeah,
Who
that's
wants
fine.
it? Who wants to go next?
I'll
Hands
go.
raised.
This is something I picked up a while ago that I've got I've got a 2 set, but I'm just bringing one because they're heavy. This is a collection of jazz records from 1897 to 1942. So it looks like they're almost like
Like an index?
yeah. Joe and I have a mutual friend named John Ward who he collects world music 78s and then releases compilations of him. I'm going to hopefully get him on the show. But
Very cool.
He's just a super interesting dude, and I think when I bought them, I'm like, "Do you want these?" And he's just like, he's like, he already had a version of it, and that's not really his thing. Although I think he has like books on all kinds of 78s. He just collects stuff from like India and Brazil, and like you can go like if you're lucky enough to get invited to his house, you can listen to like one of a kind records that no one else has from Brazil that's like was released in 1930.
That is that's a cool thing.
I found another one for like blues 78, and that sold immediately because that's where there's a much bigger market for blues. Like if you think 78, if you kind of like do any dabbling in that world, country blues is kind of like the
John goes into he also goes into sort of he goes into these sort of blind alley, not even blind, like just sort of like he'll just like get obsessed with one specific kind of music. Like for a while it was Turkish 45s from the 1970s that he was collecting, then sub-Saharan African 78s, and then it's just like it's really interesting. He's just like he's a very interesting and very thorough person. Does a lot of research on the music he buys. Like is able to figure out who like backstory about the musicians and the company, and he's a good archivist as well.
Yeah, a lot of collectors at his level are okay. Like there's a 50-50 chance they're going to be a bit of a dick. And he has as little of a dick as you can possibly be.
I would say it's more like 75-25. They're going to be a dick.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I mean, people just get like super, there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of autism in high level record collecting. And anyway, that's my thing about jazz. Joe, what do you got?
Oh, well. Got jazz hands. Thank you. All right, what's the next segment?
Jazz hands.
I just have a Count Basie 45 set. I don't know. I've never been a jazz person. And I got this. I got this at a house that was like just picking out some stuff it was like stuck in a this was sort of stuck in a. And with some other stuff. I like a good Count Basie set. I like, it's more of the sort of classic era of jazz, I guess. I don't really have a lot to say about it.
I like those just because it's neat that it's like before they put out records, they were like, well, here's about like six 45s. They did the same thing with 78s. You would get a booklet of 78s that would have like about 6 or 7 double-sided things, and that would be an album.
I'm intimidated by it, like the way when people know a lot about wine, jazz feels like that to me, where it's like, oh, I do not know enough to have an intelligent conversation, and then I end up feeling like, oh, wah, wah.
But like, I mean, that's always so.
Something. I know saxophone.
Saxophone. Like, here's like something like. That's the thing is like someone's interest shouldn't make you feel dumb. They should that's the thing I loved about, all the people we've had on. Eric, he wants to be like, hey, I love this thing and I think you will enjoy it if you experience it. And he is I love when people do that. Like that's the thing. One thing, going back to John Ward, he wants people to hear this. He's not holding it. He's not hoarding it. He's just like he puts it out.
I think that if somebody was to talk to me about jazz, how excited Eric was about like when people are excited about it. But I feel like a lot of times, especially with specific music genres, it's like when you know so much about something that you assume the other person also would know a certain base level. But if you had never been around, like my parents didn't play jazz, I've never been in that world. So then it's like I don't have very much knowledge. And then I wasn't interested in it, so I never looked anything up because I was like, oh, I don't know if this is for me, right? So I feel like it's very little. But like with anything, if somebody was to tell me about it because they were so excited about it, that is a way I would like to learn it.
Let's wrap up that discussion and move on to our next segment, which is our monthly scavenger hunt. Why don't I go first this time?
Again. This is your second time going first this episode.
Yeah, because Katie decided to forego her usual number one spot.
I'm never going to do that again. All right, go ahead. What you got? Let's see.
All right. So scavenger hunt. The theme is beat the heat.
Beat the heat.
Heat.
So what I did is I found a hoodie, which is not very beat the heat, but what it is the Honolulu firefighter hoodie.
Oh.
So it's literally beat the heat.
Pride of the Islands. That's great. Are you keeping that? Is that your size? That's fantastic. That's a good hoodie.
I have a weird mental block about hoodies. I will not wear them. Like no matter how good. Like
not around the house or anything. I'm obsessed with the ones that are really soft inside. But the minute they get soft, they get cut into rags.
I don't know. I just feel like I had a lot of conversations about hoodies that I didn't want to get into. So.
That is really fun. Now you're in another one. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
I should not have.
Also,
is it a zip up or just a flat?
It's a zip up, and it's a medium, so I might be able to fit into it. But
nay.
I also don't look. I also blue is not my color. So Joe, why don't you go? Or Katie, why don't you go?
He's got his hands full. Who do you have, Joe? So
Junior Samples Jr. is here. Speaking of Nashville and the Grand Ole Opry, named after Hee Haw's own Junior Samples, star of Hee Haw, who taped at the Grand Ole Opry.
There you go.
And now
it all comes around to Junior Samples Jr.
And now Conway Twitty.
Here's Conway Twitty.
I got lucky at a local Goodwill, and I found an excellent representation of headwear from the 1990s, the early 90s.
Wow,
this is from The Limited, when The Limited used to be a store. This gets so much better. It's a straw, lovely, multicolored hat that looks like
hey Blossom.
Blossom. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this brim has been bent this way. So whoever bought this wanted it this way. But that's not the best part. There's a bonus hat. It was a twofer. Straw, baseball hat.
Wow.
Can't go wrong. Beat the heat. Keep that pesky sun out of your eyes. Now, if these hats were to get wet, like if you were wearing it at the water slides park, 90% chance this dye is going to run into your face. 90% chance you're getting streakies like this. Yeah.
That's some good finds. Yeah. I feel like the previous hat, if you should be able to press a button and have a Jamiroquai song play.
Yeah. Oh boy. Then now I don't know what. It's got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So okay.
That's
Joe,
awesome.
what you got for Beat the Heat?
Well, I'm not ashamed of my find because it's Junior Samples Jr.
I can't beat that.
He can't. He's not helping anybody beat the heat. In fact, he's making me a little bit warmer because
I'll bet he is.
He's a tubby little tub of fun. I went to the thrift store yesterday because I put it off for a while, and I was like, was like, I found I'm going to go to the thrift store and find the perfect item. And the thrift store I rolled up to was closed for vacation.
That's
So I'm
horrible.
like, I am screwed. And then I went to, so I decided to go to the antique mall I have my space in and look at their consignment closeout rack, which is like, 50% discounted after 2 months. And I found this affordable heat beating item, a beautiful ice bucket.
Ooh,
That's kind of cool.
wow.
Lovely mid-century aluminum. It even has a dead bug in it. You can really see it. Yeah, it's like but it's dead bug brand, so that's why it's each one came with dead bugs in it. No, the brand is it's enduringly beautiful is the tagline. It says
No.
Kron. I have
Cronenberg.
no idea. It's Krome. Krome. Anyway, here's
So it's
the
chrome, but it's like how they do fake crab, where it's crab with a K. This
Yeah.
is chrome with a K. So it's fake metal somehow. That's brilliant.
yeah.
What's the band around it? Is that wood or is that
It's
plastic?
possibly Bakelite. It's a plastic. I'm gonna say maybe Bakelite, but I'm not sure. It's kind of scuffed up and it has some dings. The lid had some dings to it, but I think I still think it's a pretty nice ice bucket. So
Oh,
Yeah.
you found an item and avoided the pit.
There you
But
go.
now we have to figure out who is the winner. I'm going to
You
put
do?
my vote. I was going to put my vote to Katie.
I was going to vote for Katie as well for 2 matching hat heat beating hats.
Yeah,
It's my time. Finally. Cheering sound effect.
Hold on. Katie!
Hats off to me.
Exactly. Good job. Congrats to Katie on her first win. That's awesome. And many more to come, I'm sure. But guys, I think we did it. 5-star episode. A++.
5 stars.
You guys, let me know if you're wrong. If you think I'm wrong. But A+ is all the way down the screen.
Absolutely.
All around.
Let's keep swirling around. So thank you, everyone. Good job. And let's sing that song that everyone can't get enough of. Thank you for watching Show and Sell. If you remember, hit like, share, subscribe, and hit down. Everything's gonna be alright. And if you do, things are gonna be a little brighter for us. There's an algorithm controlling all of our lives. Thank you for watching Show and Sell. If you remember, ring the bell. Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for coming, everybody.